sheet at this point. So if you, each member can sign it, pass it around, and then I will pick it up at the end. Thank you. Members are here yet, but we want to make sure that we start on time in order to get you all out on time. Good evening. Thank you, each and every one of you, for being here today. Welcome to the 6th Lee County Commission. This is the 6th one ever. My name is Andrea Fraser. I'm one of the Deputy County Attorneys, and assisting me through this process will be Assistant County Attorney Joe Adams. We will assist the Commission in its duties and responsibilities in this charter review process. We would like to express our deep appreciation for you all serving on the 2023 2024 Charter Review Commission. For the next 18 months, you will review the charter to determine whether or not any amendments or revisions should be put on the November 2024. Today, it's the organizational meeting that is required to be held within 30 days of your appointment. That is a requirement of the charter. Once the introductions are complete and after the Sunshine Law presentation, the committee will select a chair and a vice chair. We will also discuss future meeting dates and locations, charter government, and any other administrative items that we may have at the end of the meeting. So I will start the introductions with Mr. Inge.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Inge. I've been a resident since 1980. I have a background in mining and real estate development.
Okay, so I'm sorry. The times that are in front of you, if you could push it to go to green so we can hear you better, and then hear you. Sorry, Mr. Inge, you got to do that one more time for me.
I can't remember what I said. Ron Inge, resident since 1980, involved in mining and real estate development.
I'm Keith Dean. I own Stevens & Layton, a family-owned construction company for the last 56 years. I've been here in Lee County most of my life.
Doug Congress. I've been on Sanibel for about 30 years. Got a finance and consulting business. Used to be in the jewelry business. And former vice mayor of Sanibel.
Good afternoon. My name is Maribel Sanchez. I moved to Lee County in 2005, originally from New York City. I have a background in finance and currently real estate.
Good afternoon. I'm Marianne Preston. I moved here 18 years ago from St. Louis, and we are the owners of Massage Envy in Southwest Florida.
Randy Mercer, CRE Consultants, born in Orlando, moved here in 1981 to Lee County.
Andrew Sund, been a resident of Cape Coral for most of my life and worked in automotive advertising.
Lisa King, a proud Lee County native, and I've served for the state court system for the last 30 years.
Good afternoon, everybody. Richard Aiken. I'm born and raised in Lee County in Fort Myers here. I'm an attorney with Henderson, Franklin, Starnes & Holt here in Fort Myers, practicing primarily land use and environmental law.
I'm Noel Andrus. I'm a fifth-generation Florida native. I've lived on Pine Island for 35 years. I've been involved with different boards in the county for over 30 years. Served in many different categories of boards. Served with Ron over 17 years on the local planning agency. I think this organization here today, there's several of us here that served on the last Charter Commission, and we have an opportunity here to make history with this particular Charter Commission because there hasn't been a Charter Commission in the history of this county that's ever moved an item from this room to the ballot. And I'm sure there's some issues here in Lee County that people would like to see moved to the ballot. So hopefully we can all get our heads together this time around and we can come up with an idea of something that we can all support that would benefit the people of Lee County. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Carl Bracco Jr. I'm a licensed professional engineer with Bracco & Associates, and I've been a resident of Lee County since 1982.
My name is Kevin Besser. I'm the Director of Public Policy for the Royal Palm Coast Realtor Association. I've lived in Florida for 10 years now and in Lee County for 4 years. My fiance is a lifelong resident of Lee County, though, so, don't hold that again, so I got that going for me. And I have served in state and local government and in government affairs for my entire career, so I'm looking forward to serving this way.
Nathan Fred Shaw. I'm a realtor, been a realtor for in excess of 30 years, been a full-time resident of Fort Myers, Lee County for the last 14 years.
Eric Feichtfowler, 36-year resident of Cape Coral. I'm a partner in the law firm of Baran, Adamski, Feichtfowler, and Sanchez, and I used to serve as mayor of Cape Coral a long time ago.
Well, at this point, although I don't see anyone here, I'm going to call for public comment in order to comply with government. So if anyone here has any public comment, I don't see anyone, so we will go on to the, before I start the review of, you can start walking up, Joe. Thank you very much for letting me know about the ticket issue, Andrew. So what I need each and every one of you all to do in order that you all don't get tickets before you leave here today, Lauren is going to come around, and if you can write on her pad your license plate number, which I know some of you all don't know because I admit I don't know mine, and we will prevent you all from getting a ticket.
Well, that's good news.
This is only if you parked out here. I don't know where everybody else parked, but did everybody park out here?
Parked in the lot.
In the lot? Okay, so if you parked in the lot, Lauren will come around and get that information so you all don't get tickets. And yeah, I'm okay, thank you. All right, Joe, take it away, thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Joe Adams. I'm an assistant county attorney in the county attorney's office. I'm going to present you all an overview of the Florida Sunshine Laws. Today we're going to cover open meetings, public records, voting conflicts, and standards of conduct. Starting with open meetings. So open or public meetings are all meetings of a board or commission at which official county business, and they must be open to the public. The Sunshine Law applies to commission meetings that we're going to be proceeding with through this body. So it applies to gathering of 2 or more people to discuss a matter on which foreseeable action will be taken. It's important to note that it doesn't necessarily need to be a physical gathering. It could be a phone call. It could be a text message, an email. It could be 2 members meeting up on a golf course for a round on a Saturday. Discussion taking place, that would be a violation of the Sunshine Law. Reasonable notice must be provided to the public for all meetings. Some other requirements for open meetings. Minutes must be kept of every meeting, promptly recorded. The doors can't be locked or otherwise prevent public access to the meeting. And there can't be inaudible discussion or whispering between charter members during your discussion. So I'll just note there are serious civil and criminal penalties that apply to violations of the Sunshine Law. A few of them are listed here on the slides for your review. And we're going to move on to public records. So in Florida, all citizens have a constitutional right to review public records. And record custodians have the duty to retain, redact, and make public records available to citizens who request them. So what are public records? Florida statutes define a public record as any document or material made or in connection with transaction of official county business. So again, public records. They can include things like emails, text messages, social media posts, materials that are on your personal devices that can all be a public record. So who is a custodian? Case law finds that a records custodian includes every person who has custody of a public record. There is some confidential information that's exempt under the statutes, and that would be redacted by the custodian from the public records. Again, there are civil and criminal penalties for violating the public records laws. Voting conflicts. So the main point here is commission members must exercise their power in a way that promotes the public interest over the private. So, a situation where a public officer is tempted to vote in a way that would promote a private interest over a public would be where a voting conflict comes up. Public officers cannot vote on any measure, and this is statutory language, cannot vote on any measure that would inure to his or her special private gain or loss, or to that of a client, employer, business associate, or relative. The courts have held special private gain or loss to mean economic harm or loss. And again, commission members are public officers under the statute. So if you do have a voting conflict, you must announce it to the board, abstain from voting, and then file a voting conflict form with the clerk. This is an interesting one that's come up. It is actually a violation of the statute to abstain from voting unless you have a voting conflict. So, in other words, if it's a controversial matter and you just don't want to vote because it's controversial, it's not an option. You have to vote. Okay, we're going to conclude with a quick discussion of the standards of conduct. So, commission members are prohibited from accepting any gift that is based on the understanding that their official action or their vote would be influenced by that gift. Similarly, commission members are prohibited from accepting any compensation when they should or when they know or should know that it's been given to influence their action. Public officers are further prohibited from using or attempting to use their position to benefit other people besides the public. Commission members are prohibited from renting, leasing, or selling any realty, goods, or services to the county from a business entity in which the officer is employed or has a material interest. Now, there is an important exception to this, and the most common one is when it goes through the county's competitive bidding procurement process. Again, there are criminal and civil penalties that apply to violations of the Sunshine Law. And in some, you want to avoid anything that could reasonably be construed to influence you in the discharge of your duties on the commission or create an appearance of a conflict of interest. So with that, I'll answer any questions if you have any.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Our next item of business will be the election of the chair and the vice chair. At this time, I will open up the floor for nominations.
I nominate Nathan Shaw.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations? I'll close the nominations. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Mr. Shaw,
Thank you.
you are the chair.
Okay.
You want to conduct the election for vice chair?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Now the election for vice chair, please. Any nominations?
I'd be willing to serve as vice chair.
Okay. Is there a second for Mr. Sun? Mr. Inch? Okay. Any more nominations? I will close the nominations and call for a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Mr. Shaw, Mr. Sun.
Thanks.
Next, you will see on the agenda future meeting dates. In your packet, we have currently scheduled every second Tuesday for meetings at this location. No?
I don't see that either.
No.
No, it's not. They didn't put it in there.
I can't be like the only one, right?
Tuesday,
That's why I was like, is it the second Tuesday? It is the second Tuesday. It was supposed to be in here, but it's not.
Is it going to start at 5 also?
Yes, it'll start at 5. Gives you an opportunity to get here and hopefully be on your way whenever the meetings are over.
Same time, 5?
Yes, sir. Same time at 5 p.m.
The location will always be here because
It will always be here unless we're conducting a public hearing somewhere else. Is that okay? Second Tuesday of every month, except for the month of July, because I know a lot of people want to go on vacation somewhere. So if you're scheduling now, make it for the month of July because we won't do it then. Does that work? Okay. So it's the second Tuesday of every month from now until December. And at the December meeting, we will determine how we're going to proceed for the next year. All right. And so I'm going to do a little presentation on the charter. And I know most of you have probably already read the charter. It is really great reading.
Yeah.
And I say that it's really great reading probably because I have to read it like more than once a month. But so the county charter actually started with the structure of county government in Florida being basically formulated in the 1868 state constitution and was left virtually unchanged by the 1868 state constitution. The Florida Constitution provides for a 5-member board of county commissioners with the responsibilities for public roads and for levying the necessary taxes to fund the county government. The structure of most county governments in Florida today mirrors the 1868 state constitution. However, the mission of county governments has drastically changed in that time frame, where once they only levied taxes for necessarily funding the county government and for public roads. There are a lot more things that governments do now. Comprehensive planning, impact fees, water and sewer bonds, solid waste management, and computerization. Recognizing that some counties wanted to change the way government actually was structured and be able to respond to modern-day issues as well as the problems involving growth, the Florida legislature decided to allow counties to adopt a charter. A county charter is a local home rule constitution setting forth the structure, duties, and responsibilities of a local government. A charter form of government gives local citizens the authority and power to structure and change the local government how they see fit. Up on the board here, you will see the differences between a charter and a non-charter. I'll give you one example of how our county government here in Lee County is structured that a non-charter county cannot do. Currently, we have term limits for our Board of County Commissioners. If you are a non-charter county, you can't have term limits because that is not proposed anywhere in general law. It has to be consistent with general law for a non-charter county to be able to do that. Another thing you will notice is that a charter county can have a county executive that's governed by elected commission and an elected county executive, which in this case would be a county manager. A charter government cannot do that. We have currently the county manager form of government where the county manager is appointed. You also, under a charter county, can have a county chairman that administers the plan and governance by an elected commission. And the county chairman is actually an elected position. So you can see that there are a lot of different things that a charter and a non-charter government can do and cannot do. Lee County is one of 20 charter counties in the state of Florida, and Lee County adopted its charter in 1996. Every 8 years, which is one of the changes that was made in the charter. Originally, it was every 4 years a charter county would meet, or a charter commission would meet, but now it's every 8 years. The Board of County Commissioners appoints 15 electors of the county at least 18 months prior to the next general election to review the charter and determine if there are any amendments or revisions that need to be made to the charter. And you all would provide those amendments and revisions at the next general election, which in this time frame would be November of 2024. The Charter Review Commission has to have 3 public hearings to allow the public to hear what any proposed amendments or revisions to the charter that you all are proposing to go on the ballot. Any proposed charter amendment or revision that receives an affirmative vote of the entire commission of 3/5, which is 9 members, will go to the Board of County Commissioners for their consideration. The Board of County Commissioners can accept or reject any of those recommendations. Any recommendations that they determine that they want to put on the ballot would be allowed to be placed on the ballot at the next general election. Any proposed amendments or revisions of the commission that receives a vote of 4/5, which is 12 members of the entire commission, will go directly to the ballot, and the board will ensure that that goes directly to the ballot. That makes Lee County one of probably just one county that does it that way. We are not a usual county. Usually, anything that the Charter Review Commission comes up with goes to the ballot. In this case, it's bifurcated. If you don't get 12 votes, but you get 9, it goes to the board for them to determine whether or not to put it on the ballot. And if you get 12, it goes directly to the ballot without a decision by the Board of County Commissioners based on your recommendation. Are there any questions about what I've just discussed with you? Yes, sir.
Would it be possible to distribute that document to the members of the committee?
Yes, I actually do have a copy, and I'll be more than happy to send a copy to you all. Any other questions? All right. Next on the agenda is the consideration of a facilitator. A facilitator is someone that you all could hire if you want more information that you think you need in order to make a determination. They can help you go out to other counties and see what they're doing in order to determine how you want to proceed. In actuality, however, Joe and I would be the ones who wrote the ballot language, so they could not help you do that. You don't have to make the decision right now if you want to have a facilitator or not, but later on down, you can determine we need a facilitator to help us iron this out a little bit. So we can have that discussion a little bit later. Yes, sir.
What's the cost to the taxpayer of hiring a facilitator?
It depends on their hourly rate.
Have previous commissions hired a facilitator?
We had twice they hired a facilitator, and it was Kurt Spitzer, and he was able to help them. The first one how they wanted to structure the county government as part of the charter. He was very helpful for the very first one. And then they had him after that, but that was the last time.
My initial thought is with the depth and knowledge, experience and knowledge that we have in this room, that we probably will not need this, is my guess. But if there is something that's incredibly complicated that we feel like we need to get a consultation on, then I think we should keep an open mind to it. But my initial thought is it won't be worth the money.
I should have asked this as a follow-up immediately, but is it budgeted for us to hire a facilitator?
Yes, you all do have your own budget, and that is stated in the charter as well, that you all do get your own budget to determine who you want to hire.
But you said they wouldn't be able to draft the,
We would draft.
you would draft it, so
Yes,
really.
we're the attorneys, and we have to ensure that it's legally sufficient to appear on the ballot.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, just let me make a comment. We've had facilitators before, and at the end of the day, it really, to me, was a lot of money wasted, because the main objective of the facilitator is if you have a heated topic where you need to control what people are saying, but that has not been the case with this Charter Commission. The thing that's been the biggest issue with the Charter Commission is the lack of involvement by the community. And we tried going out to different venues, meeting in the South County, meeting all over these expensive venues, and we'd have maybe 5 or 10 people show up. So really, we accomplished nothing by moving the meetings all over the county. We accomplished nothing with the facilitator. And so what we need to do is we need to have a meeting place that's designated, so if people want to come and comment, they know where to go and they're not confused about where to go to.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? All right. I don't have any administrative items, but do you all have an administrative item that you would like to bring forth to us? Do you want anything different at the next meeting?
How do we handle the parking?
Oh, we'll take care of that. Once you have your tag, we will make sure every parking is taken care of.
Oh, you should have had it ready. Oh, I had it ready.
I think as we go along and topics emerge that we want to discuss more fully, one of the things that we did do in the past was we were able to, like a lot of people were concerned about an ethics commission. Is that something that we need for local government? Because there really isn't any ethics commission for local government. And so what we did is we took a look at some of the other counties around the state of Florida that actually have an ethics commission, and we invited those folks that were at the head of those commissions to come and address the subject to this group. So that's something that we can do. We have a budget for that. So if we want more in-depth information about any kind of issue that we think needs to be brought forward, then we can actually bring in consultants to talk more deeply about that with us.
Yes, sir.
Another item that I'd had, and it may be a good time to do this now, but I know that there are some constitutional officers who do have ideas they want to bring forward. And if we'd reach out now to all those constitutional officers and say, hey, we're meeting, we'd like to get you a time on the calendar so they could prepare and have something for us.
We can do that on your behalf if you want us to do that.
Well, we need to establish a guideline, because a lot of people were upset in the past when most people that come before the Charter Commission, they only have so many minutes to speak. I'm not sure what number we're going to set, but it's either 3 minutes or 5 minutes that you have to come and speak to the Charter Commission. But yet when we brought in outside political people that wanted to come in and speak about a subject, they were granted unlimited time. And that was really upsetting to a lot of people that were in the room, is why do we have one standard for the public and another standard for like a state representative or a state senator when they want to come in and talk for an hour on trying to lobby you for what they want to see on the ballot.
I think the way that we can handle that is if you all, in drafting your agenda, you put on there presentation by or invited guests.
Invited.
And then there's a way around that. Are there any other topics? Mr. Chairman, do you have any topics that you would?
I don't, and thank you for today.
All right. This is going to be a very short meeting, but it's an organizational meeting, so it's not going to take forever at a time. But we will send out more emails discussing the meeting for next time, which is April
11th.
11th. April 11th. So I'll just tell you, it's April 11th at 5 o'clock here in this room. And Mr. Chairman, you will be taking over the meeting at that time.
Thank you.
Any other questions, concerns? Yes.
Can you take care of my parking ticket from last week?
I wish I could. I can only take care of commission items, nothing else.
Well, he's a commissioner.
Well, yeah.
Commission, something.
Yeah, but commission, charter review commission, let me put it that way. But we will make sure we take care of the parking, so you all do it there. Any other questions, concerns? We want to thank you very much for showing up. We want to thank you for volunteering for the Charter Review Commission. It is one of the most important commissions there is. It's actually the only commission other than the Board of County Commissioners. Every other commission, every other advisory board is a committee, but you all are a commission, and you all are a commission for a reason. We want to thank you very much, and if you have any questions in the meantime, please feel free to reach out to Joe or me, and we'll be happy to help you in any way we can. All right? If not, are we adjourned, Mr. Chair?
We are adjourned, but one quick thing.
Okay.
The amended agenda said something about pictures. Do we need pictures?
All right.
I rented the suit just saying.
Me too.
I got to return this. I got my haircut today for this.
So we're adjourned.
So what we will do is next